In this video tutorial, I'm going to explain some of the fundamentals of Photoshop. So let's look at the toolbar. The very top tool is the Move tool. If I click on an image, I can then drag it using the Move tool to another image. So here we've got Master Chief. Let's use the Move tool to drag in Barack Obama, and then we can also include the AEP logo. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to double click on the top blue bar, and I can see that this now fills the screen. To change the size of an image, I'm going to press Control T, and then I can grab a corner and I can shrink it down. Now we can make it tall and wide, tall and thin rather, wide and short, but what we want to do to keep it proportional is click on this link at the top, and then the length and the width will be constant. When you're done, you're going to press check. So now we've got a couple different layers, and what we're going to want to do is press F7. F7 opens up the layers palette. So here I can see the AUP logos on top, and then Obama, and then Master Chief. If I look in the palette, I can see that right here the Halo 4 is on the bottom. If I click and drag it to the top, it's on top. Halo 4 is in the middle, and then if I click Halo 4, drag it to the top, so on and so forth. What we see in the palette is reflected in the composition. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab some more images. I'm going to close this out, and we're going to start with a few selection tools. So here we've got this little collage we've got going on. I'm going to use the first selection tool. This is the rectangular marquee. I can grab his head. I can make a selection, press Control C, and then Control V to paste, and there we go. If I click and drag this to the top, I can see it's now in front. If I want to change the size, Control T, make it proportional, check, and we're good. So that's the rectangular. If I right click, and most of these tools are context sensitive, I can pull up the elliptical marquee, and I can grab his head, Control C, Control V to paste. So those are the first two selection tools that we're going to talk about. Next, let's jump into the lasso tool. So right beneath the marquee is the lasso. We've got three different lassos. Let's start with this lasso tool. So if I wanted to grab this particular student, I could use the lasso tool, and it's free flowing, and I'm sort of drawing it around pretty loosely. Control C, Control V to paste. And that's not the best job. You're going to want to use the lasso tool probably very rarely. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to this image, and I'm going to select this student by right-clicking and pulling up the polygonal lasso. Now the polygonal lasso is cool because once you click once, it makes a straight line. So if I just wanted to get this guy, or let's say just a shirt, minus his arms, we can do that. And I'm going to press Control C, Control V to paste, and that's pretty big. I'm going to press Control T to change the size. Press check to confirm. Now I don't want his arm right there, so what I can do is use the eraser tool, right click to change the diameter or the size, and now I'm simply erasing that out. So the polygonal lasso makes straight lines. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use the last and final lasso tool. It's called the magnetic lasso. This is the one that you probably want to use often. It clings to high contrast objects. So I'm sort of working my way around this particular student, and I'm not pressing anything. I'm simply dragging the mouse along. You're going to bring it back to the original bounding box. Press check, Control C, Control V. Now we've got a really nice professional looking selection. But if you're using this selection and you find that it's not doing what you want it to do, let's say you go off the path a little bit, simply press delete, and it's going to go back. And if something happens and it goes crazy all over the place, press escape, and you can start right over. The next tool is one that will make your life probably very easy. We've got the quick selection tool and the magic wand tool. We'll start with the magic wand. The magic wand tool selects an area based on color. So if I pull up the AEP logo once more, and I'm going to zoom in, I can see it's 66%. I'm going to hold Alt and roll the mouse, and that allows us to zoom in. If I'm using the magic wand, I can click right here, and you can see it selects just about all this tree. If I click this square, it's selecting just the square, etc. Now, when I'm looking at this and I zoom in, I can see that it's getting most of the tree but it's not getting the tops. If we adjust the tolerance from 32, which is the default, to let's try 88, it looks like it's getting more of the tree. The reason for that is when you select on a color using the magic wand, it selects, in this case, 88 levels up and 88 shades down. So if I pressed Control C and I return to this little collage that we're making in Control V, there we've got a nice little selection, and I'm going to juxtapose that with, press Control D to deselect. I'm going to return to the magic wand. We're going to change that tolerance now from 88. Let's change it to 12, and let's see what happens. I'm going to press Control C, Control V. I'm going to use the Move tool to pull it away, and we can see that the magic wand tool at a tolerance level of 88 picks up far more. So you're going to want to experiment with that and adjust accordingly. The next selection tool we're going to use after the magic wand is the quick selection. This is great, particularly when you have an object next to a high contrast background. In this case, it's solid green. So I'm going to use the quick selection tool, and it's going to make a selection, but it's pretty smart, and it knows right where to stop. And that looks good. I'm zooming in, and I can see that while it picked up most of him, it didn't pick up a few of these letters, so I'm just going to click over it. I'm holding down the left button on the mouse, and great, we've got this entire student, and that took just a fraction of the time as the magnetic lasso. You're going to figure out when, oops, sorry about that, you're going to figure out when the magic wand works best. So that looks the same. Similarly, let me open up a new image. So if I did this student, and I'm going to use the quick selection, I'm going to select him. Look at that. That took all of, 4 seconds. I'm going to press Control C, Control V, and there we go. So those are the basic selection tools that you will need to know. How to save and send your work. So let's say this is what we wanted to submit. I'm going to save it by going to File, Save As. And often we're going to want to submit our work as both a JPEG and a PSD. Right now we're just going to practice with the PSD. So I'm going to create a new folder by clicking this right here. Make sure you guys have a folder in your My Documents folder. It's going to pull it up, and you're going to want to write your name. So I'm going to write Drozd. And now, always in your file name, start with your name, so Mr. Drozd, and then include the project name. In this case, it's a collage. So we've got, right now, it's set as the PSD file format, but what I'm going to do is click on it and drop down to the JPEG. You're going to always want the JPEG. So remember your name, and then the type of project or the name of the project, and as a JPEG. If we click Save, that looks great. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your email. You're going to go to mail.aepstudent.com. You're going to log into your email. You're going to want to compose mail. And you're going to do this every time you submit your work to me. You're going to send it to mrdrozdaup@gmail.com. The title of the project, in this case it's going to be collage. We're going to attach a file. We're going to go to the folder that we just made. I know it's on the desktop, and I saved it as Drozd. When I open up Drozd, I can see Mr. Drozd collage. I'm going to press open. It's attaching. I'm going to click send. And now when I go to my email, and I'm refreshing there, I can see submitted from my AUP student account. I can see the name of the project. And there we go. So now, because it's a JPEG, I can open it up in my browser. And this is a funny looking project, but hopefully you have now mastered the fundamentals of Photoshop.